What is going on? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today we're going to talk to you about hologram. I want to give you an overview of what I feel is truly happening with hologram, what the data points are saying, and what shorts are doing. Before we get into any of that, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So hologram, once again, is down today. A new 52-week low of 21.5 was created, down 8.09%, and 33.8 million shares being traded. 52.1 is the average. Majority of the volume, as usual, is linked to shorting as well as algorithmic trading because you're not seeing a lot of transactions either on the dark pool, which today there is none, and secondary market, which similarly there is none. So big money isn't really interested in this. Just shorts and algos are kind of treating this stock as a puppet. And so no actual news. I don't think that's any surprise to anyone. No actual SEC filings, so no new notes have been issued. So I guess that's a positive if you want to think of it as glass half full. But the reason why I'm doing this video is someone sends me this pretty much every time this guy puts out a video. So Banking with Billy. Sounds like a very, very nice guy, very genuine and whatever else. But to be honest, a lot of people are taking a lot of individuals on social media for face value. Even everything that I say, double check it, do your own due diligence. Don't ever make any trades off of any YouTubers whatsoever, because he talks primarily on technicals and whatever else. Technicals and hologram and just momentum plays don't go hand in hand. Nobody is really buying hologram. So of course, like the support and resistance points, you can kind of throw them out the window. Yes, you can kind of look at this, which you don't need to watch a whole video just on that. Just look at the fib levels. If you want to know where it might reverse, as what a lot of YouTubers like to put for clickbait, 18 cents. Spoiler alert, that probably won't happen. But I did do a little bit more of a deeper dive. So I've brought this up in the past. So if you've actually looked at a lot of these prospectuses, it goes over this, and there are 13 subsidiaries. Majority of which their business is offshore. So I have brought up time and time again the fact that they're doing all these issuances of short-term notes, because again, it's due 2025. So very short-term stuff. Yeah, either shows that they have one of the biggest acquisitions planned in their back pocket, or they are trying to kind of defraud investors. And technically, I started to read through a lot of their filings, even some that are a little bit older. And yeah, this is definitely interesting. And I've encountered this in my day-to-day personal business, my job. And yeah, it gets very convoluted. So for instance, if we kind of look at this, so ever since restructuring, they have this new layout. So everything goes through MC Hologram, so Cayman company. And then of course, a lot is just owned through this. So you have basically, it kind of shows this chart right down here of who owns who. But ultimately, this right here, Beijing, blah, 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 Technologies, which is owned by this. Like, if you kind of look at it on Street View, it looks like a dormant. For those of you that have watched The Office, when Michael Scott made that Michael Scott paper company, honestly, that is this. So in reality, it is very easy, and they would need to hire a team of forensic accountants to just find this money. They could easily move it all around just to funnel this money through one of their many, many subsidiaries, and nobody would be the wiser. This company could easily just lose that money and nobody would even bat an eye. And even just looking here, so this is where I got a lot of that information from, and yeah, it's definitely not good. And so in general, yeah, you can go through this with a fine-tooth comb, but I kind of said it best, I think it was like a week ago. It comes down to trust. And if you trust that this company is going to really do something with that money, then yeah, take advantage, buy the dip. But the reason why it is going down so much is because there is no trust. There's a lot of companies in similar situations as Hologram that issues convertible debt products, convertible promissory notes, many things like that. And yeah, they at least put out news to show that they're actually doing something. but this company doesn't do anything. And a little bit more of an update. So in my video, I think 2 times ago or last or whenever, I did state that we'll at least find out something because they'll be kind of forced to submit their earnings. But I haven't really dived deep into it. Surprisingly, a lot of people in the comments said, well, they're a Chinese company. They don't actually have to submit annual or quarterly earnings. They just have to submit annual earnings. So I kind of had to dive deep because if you look at it, since it is on the NASDAQ requires quarterly earnings, but there is caveats about it, about Chinese and foreign entities. So this is a very, very weird circumstance. Like I've stated in other kind of coverages of other companies, normally prior to me making a YouTube channel, I never dived deep into a lot of these companies. I kind of just overlook them. As soon as I typically see a red flag, move on to the next one. There's more fish in the sea, essentially. That's how I like to think of it. But a lot of people like to know the nitty-gritty of exactly what is happening with, for instance, Hologram, with Faraday, with many kind of heavy retail driven stocks. So essentially, this is where I've never encountered this kind of scenario. So I'm going to have to dive deep into that a little bit more on if they truly are exempt from quarterly earnings by being a foreign entity. But yeah, I would assume that NASDAQ being the governing body for this stock itself would kind of overshadow it being a foreign entity. But still, at this stage in the game, moral of the story is that they haven't put out anything to really earn your guys's trust. Even aside from their earnings, if they were putting out actual news, say, hey, we're doing this through this subsidiary and whatever else, then yeah, you know what, be like, okay, they're actually doing something. They're actually moving possibly some pieces behind the scenes. They're playing slow chess, if that kind of makes sense, or what people like to perceive as. But yeah, at this stage in the game, they don't deserve any trust, and most likely this might be premature to say, but clearly they are just hiding money through a lot of their subsidiaries. And again, if they do have to submit annual earnings, then by the time when a lot of those notes are come due, us as retail investors will not, like, it'll be too late. A lot of that money will potentially be gone. Yeah, it's a very, very tough scenario. The only weird thing about all of this is that shorts aren't really doing jack all. So right now they're like increasing 18,000 shares. You would anticipate if, for instance, they knew that this was kind of a fraudulent company of sorts, or at least acting as though that, they would be doubling down, but they're not. So maybe they are somewhat low-key afraid of one of these spikes up that, once again, cannot be explained for whatever reason. So maybe them and their dogs are kind of worried about that. But still, as of right now, 6.88% of the free float is being shorted, which actually, just for due diligence purposes, is incorrect, because through here it does show the free float being 79.89 million. So again, that's very wrong. So it's probably around 1.5–2%. So very low stuff in that regard. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on Hologram. Have you been buying? Have you been selling? And if so, are you buying just to average down, don't want to admit defeat, or do you truly believe in this company behind the scenes? If you guys have some spare time, I highly recommend you guys just Googling and researching a lot of these subsidiaries. I've gone through a fair share, not really amounted with much information. So again, they could be true legitimate companies behind the scenes, or they could just be another Michael Scott paper company of sorts that is just a fugazi. So I don't know, Hologram still amazes me to this day, but it is what it is. Let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up. Even though Hologram does what it wants, when it wants, take advantage of this promo. It is only up until September the 30th, and it does give you 5 free stocks. Each stock is valued up to $2,000. This is a kick-ass deal. Link in the description below and also the comments. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.